Hi everyone, welcome to Module 2. For today's lesson, we will talk about the Philippine Constitution and constitutional provisions relative to tourism and hospitality. For the introduction, it is vital for every individual to know the law and constitutional provisions of their land. This will enable every person to live in the systematic way. It will also help us to live in harmoniously in the society we belong to. This lesson will discuss and focus on the 1987 Philippine Constitution and its provisions as applied in our field of study. Our Constitution contains 18 articles. It was approved by the people on February 2, 1987. And for our learning objectives, number 1, identify important provisions in the Philippine Constitution related to tourism and travel. Number 2, enumerate the rights of travelers as well as entities engaged in the entire tourism, travel, and hospitality industry. And to define what is Constitution, the Constitution defined as the original and fundamental principles of law by which a system of government is created according to which country is governed. It is the fundamental law of the land to which all other laws must conform. It is written instrument by which the fundamental powers of the government are established, limited, and defined, in which those powers are distributed among several departments for their safe and useful exercise for the benefits of the body politic. Basically, our constitutions contains our systems and framework of the government, the various rights of its citizens as well as other types of powers and incidents hereof that our public officials and their offices may exercise. Every civilized society requires a basic set of rules to govern the conducts of its members as well as prescribe procedures in resolving matters affecting its way of life. Its purpose may be summed up as follows. First one is for self-determination. A constitution determined the people's right to govern themselves and recognize equal rights for all of build a political, economic, and social system of our own free choice. Number 2 is to embody the civic spirit. It contains the spirit, the hopes, the aspirations, the expectations, and desires of its authors as well as the highest values of the citizens. And the last one is to provide legal framework and systems of government. It identifies the focus and boundaries of authority and of people's rights. The structure and contents of the Philippine Constitution. The preamble and 18 self-contained articles with a section numbering that resets for every article. The preamble introduces the constitutions and the source of sovereignty, the people. It follows the pattern in the past constitutions, including an appeal to God. The preamble reads, "We, the sovereign Filipino people, imploring the aid of Almighty God in order to build a just and humane society and establish a government that shall embody our ideals and aspirations, promote the common good, conserve and develop our patrimony, and secure to ourselves and our posterity the blessings of independence and democracy under the lure of law and a regime of truth, justice, freedom, love, equality, and peace, do ordain and promulgate this Constitution." Article 1. National Territory. The national territory comprises the Philippine archipelago, with all the islands and waters embraced therein, and all the territories over which the Philippines has sovereignty or jurisdiction, consisting of its terrestrial, fluvial, and aerial domains, including its territorial sea, the seabed, the subsoil, the insular selves, and other submarine areas, the waters around, between, and connecting the island of the archipelago regardless of the breadth and dimensions, form part of the internal waters of the Philippines. For the Article 2 Declaration of Principles and State Policies, Article 2 layouts the basic social and political creed of the Philippines, particularly the implementation of the Constitution, and sets forth the objectives of the government. Some essential provisions are: Number 1, the Philippines is a democratic republic. Number 2, renunciation of war as a form of national policy. Number 3, supremacy of civilian over military authority. Number 4, separation of church and state. Number 5, family as the basic unit of the state. Number 6, role of youth and women in national building. Number 7, autonomy of local governments. And number 8, equal opportunities for public services and the provisions of political dynasties. Article 3, Bill of Rights. Article 3 enumerates specific protections against the abuse of state power, most of which are similar to the provisions of the U.S. Constitution. Some essential provisions are a right to due process and equal protections of law, a right against searches and seizures without a warrant issued by a judge, and a right to privacy. Also, the right to freedom of speech and expression, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, and the right to petition, the free exercise of religion, a right to abode, the right to travel, a right to information on matters of public concern, a right to form associations, a right of free access to courts, the right to remain silent and to have competent legal counsel, a right to bail in against excessive bail conditions, a right to habeas corpus, the right to speedy trial, the right against self-incrimination, the right to political beliefs and aspirations, a provision against cruel, degrading, or inhuman punishments, protection providing for no imprisonment for debt, the right against double jeopardy, provision of sex post facto laws and bills of attainder. Similar to U.S. jurisprudence and other common law jurisdictions, the scope and limitations of these rights have largely been determined by Supreme Court through case law. Article 4, Citizenship. Article 4 defines the citizenship of Filipinos. It enumerates two kinds of citizens. Number 1 is natural-born citizens, and number 2 is the naturalized citizens. Natural-born citizens are those who are citizens from birth without having to perform any act to acquire or perfect Philippine citizenship. The Philippines follows a jus sanguinis system where citizenship is mainly acquired through a blood relationship with Filipino citizens. Natural-born citizenships forms an important part of the political systems as only natural-born Filipinos are eligible to hold high offices, including all elective offices beginning with a representative in the House of the Representatives up to the President. Article 5, Suffrage. Article 5 mandates various age and residence qualifications to vote and a system of secret ballots and absentee voting. It also mandates a procedure for overseas and disabled and illiterate Filipinos to vote. Article 6, Legislative Department. Article 6 provides for a bicameral legislature called the Congress, composed of the Senate and the House of the Representatives. It vests upon the Congress, among others, the power of investigation and inquiry in aid of legislation, the power to declare the existence of state of war, the power of the pursue, the power of taxation, and the power of eminent domain. Article 7, Executive Department. Article 7 provides for a presidential form of government where the executive power is vested on the President. It provides for the qualification terms of the office, election, and the power and functions of the president. It also provides for a vice president and for the presidential line of succession. Article 8. Judicial Department. Article 8 vests the judicial power upon the Supreme Court and the other lower courts as may be established by the law, while the power to appoint justices and judge still reside with the President, and the President form of a list at least 3 nominees prepared by the Judicial and Bar Council for every vacancy. A body composed of the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, the Secretary of Justice, the chairs of the Senate and House Committees on Justice, and representatives from the legal profession. Article 9. Constitutional Commissions. Article 9 established 3 constitutional commissions: the Civil Service Commission, the Commission on Elections, and the Commissions on Audit. Article 10. Local Government. Article 10 pursues for local autonomy and mandates Congress to enact a law for the local government, now currently the Local Government Code. Article 11. Accountability of Public Officers. Article 11 establishes the Office of the Ombudsman, which is responsible for investigating and prosecuting government officials. It also vests upon the Congress the power to impeach the President, the Vice President, members of the Supreme Court, and the Ombudsman. Article 12. National Economy and Patrimony. Article 12 lays down the goals and objectives of the Philippine government in terms of wealth distribution, division of goods and services, and to offer job opportunities to elevate the lives of the Filipino people. Article 13. Social Justice and Human Rights. Article 13 divulged the utmost responsibility of the Congress to give the highest priority in enactments of such measures which protects and enhances the rights of all the people to human dignity through affirming that present social, economic, and political inequalities as well as cultural inequities among the elites and the poor shall be reduced or removed in order to secure equitability, welfare, and common good among Filipino people. Article 14. Education, Science and Technology, Arts, Culture, and Sports. The state shall protect and promote the right of all citizens to quality education at all levels and shall take appropriate steps to make such education accessible to all. And for the last one, Article 15, the family. Article 15 establishes the recognition of the state on the Filipino family as the basic foundation of the nation, as it shall reinforce and bolster its solidarity and steadily promote its development. And this is the end of our discussions. If you have any questions, feel free to message me on my Facebook page or write me on my email address. Thanks.